Well, welcome. I just want to start by reminding all of our students that this is a ceremony to honor and recognize veterans in our community. I greatly appreciate your respect and presence at this event. Good morning, Frontier staff, students, families, veterans, and special honored guests. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to our recognition of veteran and active duty military ceremony. We're going to begin our program with an overview of appropriate conduct for the national anthem and presentation of the colors given by Mrs. Ferguson.
Good morning, everyone. The Star-Spangled Banner is our national anthem. When the national anthem is performed, it is appropriate to stand, face the flag, and remove your hat. You may choose to place your hand on your heart if you wish. Now, presenting the colors, we have members from Echo Company, 2nd of the 413th 95th Division. Please rise and remove hats for the presentation of the colors and the national anthem.
Okay, remain silent, please. Thank you, Mrs. Ferguson and Frontier Band. I'd like to invite those Frontier students who will be honoring staff members and their families for their service in the military to assemble on the floor near these signs. And I'd also like to invite ASB officers Thomas Wynn, Lydia Schwenker, Ammon Runger, and Sullivan Taylor to the stage to read a history of Veterans Day.
World War I was a war to end all wars. In the years between 1914 and 1918, 60 million men were mobilized and more than 29 million were killed or wounded worldwide.
The end of the fighting occurred at 11 a.m. November 11th of 1918. From that point on, the day became known as Armistice Day. Since that time, memorial gestures have taken place of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month each year. This year will mark the 100th year we observe this event.
We now call this day Veterans Day to honor those who have been killed or wounded in wartime, as well as members of the armed services past and present. At 11 a.m. on November 11th, a combined color guard representing all military services executes the presentation of arms at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery, Washington, D.C.
This represents the nation's tribute to its war dead and is symbolized by the laying of a presidential wreath while a bugle player plays taps. Please take a moment to thank a member of the armed services for their continued sacrifice in securing our peaceful society.
Thank you. We will now hear from the Frontier Choir led by Director Sherri Halls. The choir will be performing a medley of My Country 'Tis of Thee, America the Beautiful, and the Battle Hymn of the Republic, arranged by Mark Williams. I give you Sherri Halls and the Frontier Choir, accompanied by Roxanne Hill.
Unknown to Mr. Pendleton, we have a program change. Our first song is called Oh Freedom.
I would like to now invite those Frontier students to the stage who will be honoring staff members and their families for their service in the military. I'd ask that you please hold your applause to the end of the presentation.
Frontier would like to honor 7th grade math teacher Carla Camp for her 7 years of service as Staff Sergeant in the Air Force.
Frontier would like to honor 8th grade teacher Tracy Ruprecht for her 31 years of service as Chief Warrant Officer, 2 in the Army Reserve.
Frontier would like to honor Zachary Burgoyne, son of Stephanie Burgoyne, for his service as Private Second Class in the Marines.
Frontier would like to honor Tyler Dione, son of 7th grade teacher Nadia Cotter, for his service as Lance Corporal in the Marines.
Frontier would like to honor Robert C. Kink III, son of 6th grade math teacher Robert Kink, for his service as Chief Master Sergeant in Oregon National Army.
Frontier would like to honor Chris Lantang, husband of Angela Langting, for his service as colonel in the U.S. Air Force.
Frontier would like to honor Wilton Fowler, father of Cecilia Fowler, for his service as petty officer, second class in the Navy.
Frontier would like to honor Charles J. Burkreck, for father of sixth grade teacher Rebecca Van Donelen, for his service as private first class in the Army.
Frontier would like to honor the family members of sixth grade math teacher Amanda Godsill, Michael Pfeiffer, sergeant in the Air Force, Carl Hansen, captain in the Army, Carl Hansen Sr., captain with the Merchant Marines, Pete Hansen, lieutenant, Army Special Air Force.
Frontier would like to honor the family members of band teacher Donna Flores. Don Heigl, paratrooper with the 82nd Airborne, participated in the D-Day invasion. Dwight Heigl, Idaho Air National Guard, participated in Operation Desert Storm and Operation Iraq Freedom. And Don Flores, U.S. Army and Oregon Air National Guard.
Frontier would like to honor Garrett Lee Elgin, son of GTT teacher Todd Elgin, for his service in the Army.
Frontier would like to honor Jim Halls, husband of teacher Sherri Halls, for his service as specialist in the U.S. Army.
Frontier would like to honor David Trone, son of 8th grade teacher Nilda Trone, for his service as captain in the Air Force.
Frontier would like to honor family members of Secretary Debbie Corwin, Dad Bob Langren, First Sergeant, Washington Army National Guard, Grandfather Corus Lee Corby, U.S. Army.
Frontier would like to honor Sylvester Pat Smith, father of humanities teacher Mike Mann, for his service in the Pacific Theater in the Navy during World War II.
Frontier would like to honor the family members of Associate Principal Ebony McKenzie, Nelson Key, father for his service during the Vietnam War as a corporal in the U.S. Marine Corps, and Chaka Key, brother for his service as a specialist in the Army.
Frontier would like to honor Sergeant Larry Harpel, brother of math teacher Mr. Harpel, for his service in the Army.
Frontier would like to honor Richard Robertson, uncle of humanities teacher Kim Suchek, for his service during the Vietnam War in the Army.
Frontier would like to honor Counselor Leslie King's father, Les Moore, and brother Wayne Moore, U.S. Army, brother Nicholas Moore, U.S. Army, and nephew Jared Moore, SBC combat medic in the 101st Airborne Division, U.S. Army.
Frontier would like to honor the family members of science teacher Randy Bergstrom, parents Walter Bergstrom, U.S. Army Corps, and Alice Bergstrom, U.S. Navy, both on active duty during World War II.
Frontier would like to honor the family members of speech teacher Melinda Condon, father David Glass, private first class U.S. Army, grandfathers Dan Glass, private first class U.S. Army, received 2 Bronze Stars and 1 Purple Heart, and William Stevens, Master Sergeant, Army Air Corps. He earned the Air Medal.
Frontier would like to honor the family members of Associate Principal Marshall Pendleton, father Ken Pendleton, United States Coast Guard, uncles Don Pendleton, U.S. Army, Wayne Cluth, U.S. Army, Roger Sandmeyer, U.S. Air Force.
Thank you, students. We have many family members to recognize today and thank for our freedom. It is now my honor to introduce our speaker for today's ceremony. Staff Sergeant Anina Gaither is an aerospace medical technician with the United States Air Force. After being born and raised in Portland, Oregon, she has served in the Air Force for over 7 years and was active duty for 3. Her first duty assignment was at Travis Air Force Base in California, where she worked at the David Grant Medical Center before transferring to the Portland Air National Guard in 2014. Sergeant Gaither is currently working at the Flight Medicine Clinic as the non-commissioned officer in charge. Some of the cool assignments that she has experienced include providing free medical service to an underprivileged community in Charleston, Mississippi, and responding to Hurricane Lane in Hawaii. Her favorite thing about serving in the job she does is being able to help people. Her job allows her to provide care for military members, their families, and retirees. She enjoys building relationships, not just knowing about their medical condition, illness, or injury, but knowing the person behind the injury. She's able to build trust that is needed in order to care for people medically and also care for them on an emotional level. In the past 7 years of serving in the Air Force, she has earned her Associate in Applied Science Practical Nursing degree, her Bachelor of Science in Psychology, and is currently working on her master's degree in both Business Administration and Healthcare Administration. Ladies, gentlemen, and students, I give you Staff Sergeant Anina Gaither.
Good morning, everybody. First off, thank you so much for letting me come to your guys' school and speak to you. It's an honor being here, talking to you guys today. So that was a little bit about me. Like he said, I'm a medic in the Air Force. I've been doing it for 7 years now. I absolutely enjoy it. I joined right after high school, and it was the best decision I could have made for myself. I joined to get college paid for. That's one of the awesome benefits about joining the military. But I obviously re-enlisted and stayed in for different reasons besides college. I absolutely love everything that I do. Being a medic in the Air Force, I get to help people when it comes to their medical needs, and not only help the members that are serving, but get to help their family members, the retirees, the veterans, and it's awesome. He mentioned one of the assignments I went on was helping an underprivileged community in Charleston, Missouri. That was probably one of the most humbling and great experiences of my life, because there is a huge population in the United States that don't have insurance and aren't able to get the medical care that they need. So being able to go out there for 2 weeks and provide that service for them was amazing, and just getting to see the reactions from the parents, the kids that we were helping was just very rewarding in itself. What else should I tell you guys about myself? Born and raised in Portland, huge Portland Trailblazers fan. So, sorry. But yeah, so what I love about the Air Force, like I said, is helping people out. And I've gotten to go out into the community and help people when it comes to their medical service and medical needs, which has been really rewarding. And I think the most rewarding thing about my job is seeing all of the people that I have been able to help and the lives that I've saved. Because in the healthcare field, we're saving lives and helping people. And that's probably the most humbling thing about my job, is being able to actually care for our members when they are hurt and returning home from being deployed, and providing those services and comforting their family in those hard times is probably as rewarding as well.
What do you look forward to
in the future? So right now, like he said, I'm working on 2 master's degrees. I'm getting a master's in business administration and healthcare administration. So I would like to be the command chief of the Portland Air National Guard base one day. And then on the civilian side, my overall goal is to be a CEO of a hospital, because I would love to be a part of the policies and the procedures when it comes to healthcare, and trying to make healthcare more affordable for the people that can't financially afford healthcare. So,
what would you tell these kids? What advice would you give them now, thinking about going to the military?
So I actually spoke at my old high school yesterday, and it was very humbling getting to talk to them and share my experience. And a lot of the questions I got from the female students was, is it hard being a woman serving? And one of the things that I told them is, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something just because of your gender, just because you're a female. One of the things, I've had people tell me that in my career, I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, watch me prove you wrong, but just don't let anybody get in your way, my ladies out there. Like, if you want to join the military, you can do it, and you can be very, very successful like I have and many other women have. So, am I allowed to answer questions? He has his hand up. Sure. Okay. How many fights have I been in? So I haven't been in any fights. Like I said, I'm a medic, so when our other airmen and soldiers are out there fighting, I'm the one that takes care of them after the fight. So no fights for me. I help people. Yes.
What's the worst injury you've ever had to deal with? Like, with the people that you've seen, what's like the grossest or thing that you've ever seen? I have to ask.
I was gonna say.
Don't elaborate, sure.
Okay, so probably open abdominal wound. Somebody had their stomach cut and like their guts were out. So in that kind of situation, when we're in the field, you have to get a whole bunch of gauze and get it wet and pack it up on top of the organ just so they stay moist. Oh my God, sorry. And then you have to wrap it up so they don't like come out, and then you just transfer them to a hospital where a doctor or more trained medical professionals can help them with that stuff. So, but thank you guys so much for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sergeant Gaither. Now we'd like to introduce Mrs. Ruth Brecht, who will introduce the poem In Flanders Fields by John McCrae, which will be read by Jesse Others, Grace Pratt, and Amelia Perez. Ladies, if you'd come to the front.
Following, we'll hear the poem In Flanders Fields, written by John McCrae, which my students know is one of my favorite poems. While serving as a military doctor, Major McCrae was second in command of the 1st Brigade, Canadian Field Artillery in 1915. He composed this poem after officiating at the burial of an artillery officer, his friend, under his command who had died in battle the day before.
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields.
Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high, if ye break faith with us who die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders field.
Now we will have let me check with Ms. Halls, because I'm not sure I have everything correct. We will now have our final number from the Frontier Choir. Director Hall will introduce you to the song.
Our next song, or our final song, is We Honor You, written by Roger Emerson.
Great job, choir. The Frontier Choir has been asked to sing tomorrow at the fort during the ceremony that's going to be happening there, and we're really excited for that privilege for them. It's a great honor for you all to be able to do that, so congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Next, we will have our final number from the Frontier Band. Once again, I give you Mrs. Ferguson. Oh, 2 numbers. Sorry. I'm a math teacher. I forget to count sometimes.
Good morning, everyone. This is really a privilege to get to play for our veterans, our guests up here, and also for the student body. This is probably the most meaningful concert that we do all year, I think. It's honoring people that are completely selfless. They give up their time, they give up their, sometimes, great careers they could go to, but they decide to go into a life of service, and some don't get to come back. And or they lose a lot of friends, and those scars are there forever. And but they're willing to do that. And even people that just go through maybe one term in the military and then take off and go out and do other things,
they still sacrifice that time, and it makes this country the country we have. We would not have this if it wasn't for our military protecting us every day, every hour. So we want to make sure that we give them that respect. This piece is really, I think the band, we kind of had to peel back a lot of layers. This is a pretty difficult number, and it's called Elegy, which is a funeral song. So that's what it's about. The composer wrote this in memory of several band members that were part of the USS Arizona in World War II. It was hit during Pearl Harbor, and it sunk, and these 22 members of this band were lost, along with a lot of other soldiers and naval officers and enlisted, and it basically almost wiped out our entire naval fleet. And and miraculously we rebuilt this, and were able to basically save the world with a group of people known as the Greatest Generation. So this is in memory of all those people, and we're going to do a presentation. And even though this is for the Navy, and you'll hear the naval hymn played through this one, it's also, I think, with our presentation, it's for all military and for all those who serve. And we want to thank you once again. And so this is our symphonic band, and we are going to play Elegy for you now. that was Connor McChesney on the trumpet solo there. Let's give him a hand. Thank you, veterans. That was for you.
Okay, our next piece that we're going to be performing for you this morning is entitled Marches of the Armed Forces. Did you know that all of the branches of the military have their very own march? We're going to play a medley of all of those for you today, and we would ask that each of, when you hear your song, if you have served in any branch of the armed forces, would you please stand and be recognized when you hear your march? So audience, if you see someone standing up during this, that means that that is a very important piece of music to them, and it represents something that they have given a lot of their life to. So we want to give them a round of applause. It's one of those times where it is appropriate to clap during the song because we want to acknowledge our guests in the room. Mrs. Hegel Flores will be announcing those as they come up through the piece. So here is Marches of the Armed Forces.
Veterans.
Well, as we get close to the end of our presentation, I'd like to take a moment just to tell all of you students who have parents or family members who are currently deployed that your family's in our prayers, and we want the best for them. And if you need anything, you need to let us know. With that, I would like to turn it back over to Mrs. Ferguson, who will talk to us about the retirement of the colors and taps.
All right, so much like when we presented the colors and we stood, removed hats, and showed respect, we are going to do the same when we retire the colors, when they bring the colors out, that colors being, of course, the flag. So we are going to, in a moment, I'll have you rise, and we're going to have the three of our trumpet players perform taps, which is customarily done when the colors are retired. All right, so we're going to ask everyone to please rise quietly.
Reset! Arm! Order! Arms! Right! Peace! Mark time! March! Forward! March!
I would like to thank you all for your attention, your presence, and the opportunity to recognize our veterans and active duty service members. Thank you, veterans, for your service and sacrifice. Thank you, community members in attendance this morning, and thank you, students and staff, for participating. We value the amazing place we live, and thank you for your time. With that, we will conclude our ceremony. Students, please remain seated, and we will begin dismissal. Once again, let's give all of our veterans and guests a thank you.